happened in 1984, actually, when once all of a sudden Professor Buteyko told me, look, I've got a patient from the Kiev, from Ukraine, and that woman, she was actually sitting in his kitchen, you know, having a cup of tea or whatever. She came from Ukraine for treatment. And she said, we have many people there. And she wanted Professor Buteyko to visit Kiev and treat them. And he told me, told me, you know, that Sasha would go. I said, look, go to Kiev and treat them. Like, give my method. And it was a bit of a surprise for me, naturally, because I'm not doctor, you know, like to go to Kiev to treat, you know, patients. You know, Professor Buteyko is here, Kiev is there, and I even didn't have money to go there. And he bought a ticket for me. He gave me money, and I went. That's how I treated my first dozen of patients there. And after that, another dozen or so appeared, because people looked, people watched, people listened, and they brought, you know, the friends like that. So that I was supposed to come back in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time, and I came back to Novisibirsk actually after maybe a couple of months. I was the first who went, maybe late 1983, you know, but I think it's 1984. When I went to Kiev, then St. Petersburg, and then a few practitioners, fanatics, former patients, went around Soviet Union, so we crossed in Soviet Union, Ukraine, Georgia. So there was me, there was one doctor, well, who quit medical practice. His name also Sasha Shevelyov. He was graduated from medical institute in south of Russia. There was Sergei Luzgin. There was Vladimir Sukhanosov. Well, there were other couple people. Well, they did not go all the time, but in general there was like like 4 or 5 people, and we went across so many cities in Russia and former Soviet Union republics. And to name cities, maybe the list would be too long, you know. It includes Moscow and St. Petersburg and Kiev and Odessa and the cities in Lithuania, Estonia, what else, Georgia. Over the period of 1984 and let's take time when the first Buteyko Kliniek was set up in Novisibirsk. I guess it was 1987 or something like that. We treated thousands of patients across the Soviet Union. And then the clinic was set up when it was Gorbachev times, and he announced sort of perestroika and like that. So that became possible to set up the clinic. I guess in 1986 we set up a clinic in Novisibirsk. That was the first Buteyko Kliniek. And by the way, Professor Buteyko wasn't even director of that clinic. There was a practitioner, well, his name Boris. Boris is like a doctor of philosophical science like that, from academic city from Novisibirsk, Buteyko's disciple. And myself, we were directors. And Buteyko was like a scientific authority. So the first clinic held just three people, Boris, myself, and Professor Buteyko. So, well, we set up this clinic, three-man clinic in the beginning in Novisibirsk. They hired a room, there were a few rooms actually in the local medical clinic. And so we started treating patients, and patients started to arrive in the clinic. And we had to expand naturally, we had to put more practitioners there. So it came like to 8 people, 10 people, 20 people, practitioners I mean. And doctors of course came in, like Genina also was hired and worked in the clinic. Well, the Moscow clinic started I guess somewhere around 1988, a couple of years later, then Novisibirsk clinic. And the first director of the Moscow clinic was my friend, practitioner, Sergei Luzgin.